Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Tip Your Caddy, powered by Spike Date. I am here with a very, very, very special guest. I've caddied this guy's bag at the bridge more times than I can count. He's friends with a good buddy of ours, an outstanding human being. And today we're talking caddying in the 70s, U.S. women's amateur, a 30-year-old real estate run, and why walking St. Andrews made him walk away from the CEO chair. My friend, Rich Ferrari. Rich, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Doug. Boy, you got it down there pretty good in a few seconds. Not bad.
Yeah.
That's my life in a nutshell.
Yeah, you know, when I'm getting a little bit better at these podcast things as we go. And Rich, I wanted to have you on because, like I said, I've caddied for you a good bit. And when you told me you were a caddy in the 70s, man, I was like, I gotta hear about some of these stories. So, walk me through a typical day at Montclair in the mid-70s.
Typical
man.
day at the Montclair Golf Club in 1973 when I was a 14 or 15-year-old kid, depending on what month it was. On a weekend, you had to be there by 7 o'clock.
Okay.
You may not get out till 2 o'clock, but you had to be there at 7 o'clock or go home. That was how it worked with a caddy master.
How often would you sit there and not get out at all?
Well, you know, in your early days when you were a new rookie caddy, you know, it was probably 50-50. But if you didn't get out on Saturday, you did get out on Sunday.
Okay, so there was a fairity to it.
As you became a senior caddy, I mean, by the time my first year was up, I was looping on weekends 36 holes a day. Now, we're not looping with a Stitch golf bag or a Titleist canvas golf bag that's, you know, lightweight. No. We're talking Burtons. They don't make them anymore. There were more leather on a Burton than there was on your father's Cadillac seats, okay? These bags weighed 50 pounds each at a minimum. I was only 140 pounds. I was a skinny little kid, okay? And two of them would go on your shoulders. And the older the bag was, the straps would start falling apart and they would dig into you. So you literally sometimes had to caddy with a towel around your neck because your shoulders were bloody from the straps of a Burton golf bag.
You know what we call them these days? We call them razor blades. Anytime you get a strap that isn't good, we call them the good old razor blades, Rich.
Well, today the caddy will take the liberty of saying, I've watched it with guests, Mr. Ferrari, we have to put your caddy's clubs and your guest clubs in a different bag. No caddy's going to carry that. But in the 70s, you didn't answer back on anything. And, you know, so much has not changed. Remember,
yeah,
a lot of it is safe. The biggest change is there were no yardage markers on the golf course. Okay, none. A 50-yard mark tree, I don't think came into maybe 78 or 79 or 1980. But I do know in 1973, when I started caddying, there were no yardage markers. So you would learn from the senior caddies that bunker is 150 yards in. That tree is 110 yards in. That rock is 220 yards in. You know, so when a golfer would ask you, caddy, they rarely used your first name. They did use your first name. Okay, people are people and nice people are nice people.
Yeah, yeah.
Richie, how far is it coming in? You know, you're about 170 yards. That bunker over there is 150. Okay. Okay, now there were no yardage on sprinkler heads, but you knew the sprinkler heads were 30 yards apart.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so you'd walk in one and you get an idea that sprinkler head is 135 yards. Your two sprinkler heads behind it, so you're roughly 200 yards.
That's incredible.
So the caddy had all these little things on yardage. Okay.
It's kind of cool that you guys had this little like for me at the bridge, right? If now that I've walked it so many times, I could probably go an entire round, the rest of the rounds, without a rangefinder.
100%. Because half the times you're not shooting it. You're telling me, Rich, you're 205 because you know it from that bunker, from that tree. It's the same where I said earlier, things don't change.
No,
But
no.
in the beginning, it is a little different. Okay. It's hard for a rookie caddy. Today, a rookie caddy goes out and buys a rangefinder. That's half the battle.
Yeah, I mean that really is. You buy the $300 rangefinder and you're kind of good to go. And to be honest, it's kind of better. It makes more people be able to get in easier, and you can actually have higher quality caddies at your club because
okay,
you
now
don't have to learn.
one big difference is caddies weren't allowed to wear shorts.
No, really.
Oh yeah. So we were, 70s pot, drugs, alcohol as a kid. We wore jeans. Well, you're not going to wear jeans when it's 85 degrees out and humid and you're looping. Okay.
No.
And the only jeans in those days were Levi jeans. Okay. They were it, your Levi's. So we'd go to Sears because Sears Roebuck had what we call khakis now. They were chinos then.
Okay.
Okay. And they were a little bit on the lightweight. So that's what you would buy to caddy in.
Wow. Yeah. No, I could not imagine being out there. There are guys that do it for the sun protection now.
Yeah, but remember, like I wore long pants today because of skin cancer on my legs, ticks. But
Yeah.
these are Peter Millar or Stitch golf slacks that are so thin and they breathe. They didn't have golf slacks that way in those days. Okay.
So you were walking around those thick denims.
Correct. Okay. Remember, like golfers wore the weirdest clothes in the 70s. When you ever watch it, would be like a red polyester pants with a paisley golf shirt. Like it was the strangest clothes that golfers wore in the 70s.
One of the
watch
first
it when you see the US Open, and everything.
Yeah.
Just, but what hasn't changed though is, when you're a caddy and the golfer you're caddying for hits a great shot. That great shot is a test of time. It's no better today than it was 50 years ago when someone was looping. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. There's something about that player caddy connection. When they do a good job, you almost feel a part of that. And
now, you probably don't even know when I'm going to talk about the high-tech equipment of the early 70s. A Toney Penna wood. That still rings a bell, doesn't it?
No, I've got no idea what that is.
A Toney Penna wood was a handmade wood for a driver, 3-wood or 5-wood, that was actually, hold on 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah. Oh, this is awesome. I hope he has one. All right, this would be a good time to plug it. Ladies and gentlemen, next merch drop this October coming up. It's going to be big. If you're interested, go to tipyourcaddy.com.
I got a gift last year from a house guest. I'm in Sag Harbor, and it's a bottle opener.
Yeah.
But this is a Toney Penna wood.
Wow.
Okay.
Look at the screws.
With the screw, when it said you hit it on the screws, there were screws.
I knew
this
that.
This is a Toney Penna wood. Okay, that was something that, doesn't exist today. And Cleveland Classic was the same. Okay. But a Hague Ultra, a Wilson Staff with an Eplock face, that was a black wooden, polished black with a plastic, or not really plastic, more like an epoxy, clear epoxy, which would be here that, these were the high-tech clubs that everyone spent a fortune for. It wasn't until I think it was TaylorMade that came out with the first metal clubs, probably in the late 70s, and nobody knew what they were. Okay.
Yeah, and they didn't even really become popular until like the late 80s, right? Like guys were still even on tour using their woods.
Correct. And a graphite shaft was only on a driver because they were too expensive to put anywhere else. A graphite shaft was $100 when they first came out in the early 70s. That would be equivalent to $1,000 today.
That's insane. Oh my God.
Remember, a caddy got $7 a bag.
Oh my, no, what? That's the next thing I was going to ask you. The difference in pay must be astronomical. Like,
not really, because that $7 went a long way.
Okay. So
by the time I was done caddying, it was about 15 or 18 a bag.
Okay.
And when I graduated college. But when I was a freshman in high school, caddy got $7 a bag.
Wow.
A B caddy, an A caddy got $8 a bag.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but what would that be now? Like, what is that $7?
I don't know for sure, but that would probably be, close to 150 a bag, which is,
no way.
20 times, I'm going to say. But remember, in equivalent, 110, 130, what you get at the bridge is not normal. Okay.
No, it's not.
I paid and tipped my caddy today at the Maidstone, which was 30% less than what I give you guys.
Yeah.
And Montclair Golf Club is 10% less than it was at the Maidstone. So it's catching up.
Yeah.
But what you guys get at the bridge, probably the most expensive golf course in the country to join, what you guys get at the bridge is not what a normal caddy gets anywhere else.
Yeah. And I think about that a lot. It is a hard walk. And my first couple of years there were very tough before I met.
Bullshit, it's a hard walk. You don't know what a hard walk is.
It is a hard walk, man. What are you talking about?
I'll take you to Montclair Golf Club, which is a Donald Ross course built on the side of a mountain. Okay? So you walk down, and then there might be 2 holes that are flat, and then you walk up 4. Okay, the bridge, you talk about a hill, is like, please, it was the bulldozer slipped when it went up or whatever, hills. The bridge is flat.
You might be the first person ever on this podcast to say that the bridge is flat, because every caddy
is flat.
Okay, so relative to the other courses in the Hamptons, the bridge is very hilly.
Yes, I'll agree with you on that. I'll agree. Maidstone has some hills. The clubhouse is perched up. Maidstone has some hills, but I'll agree with you on that. Compared to Atlantic, National, Shinnecock, yeah, the bridge is hilly.
Yeah.
Long Island is flat.
Yes.
Okay, go to the hills of northern New Jersey or upstate New York. South Carolina, where I have a house, is flat.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But when you're caddying, you're a mule. Okay, that's basically what I was as a kid. Okay, with 2 bags that weighed 50 pounds each on my shoulders, uphill. Now, Montclair Golf Club is 4 9s. Okay. Donald Ross, 4 9s. All 4 9s are par 35. So you can combine them for a par 70 course. They all have 1 par 5, 2 par 3s, 6 par 4s. They all have the same slope. Okay. So it doesn't matter what you play.
That's cool.
But the last couple holes for each 9 are straight back uphill.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
And on the second 9, it's called Heart Attack Hill, the 7th hole. So it was okay for a golfer to take it easy for Heart Attack Hill, but not a kid with 2 bags on his shoulder.
So how often in the 70s, because as you know, our guy that we play golf with at the bridge loves to get the caddies a cart. How often was that a thing?
That was not allowed. That didn't happen. Okay. A caddy never drove a cart or put the bags on a cart. That did not happen. Okay. And I have other friends in other clubs that joke about this also. Yeah. When we caddy, the thought of the caddy driving a cart with 2 bags. Okay. That did not happen. Okay. not happen. I'm going to tell you a little story. In 1973, Montclair Golf Club hosted the 73rd U.S. Women's Amateur Championship.
Yep.
Okay, and that was a big deal then. Remember, there was no internet. You know, you learned about golfers from reading the paper, including the amateur golfers. So the day before, 3 days before, the caddies as a group walked every hole with our little notebooks and really walked, you know, to get a better sense of yardage for someone who's just coming to play the course. You know, an amateur golfer, male or female, are trying to win, you know, the U.S. Amateur, doesn't want to hear it's 150 from that trap over there. They want to hear a little more what it is. So we did get a good sense of yardage. And it was a sense of yardage that all the caddies together had the same yardage. Okay, so
Yep.
if I was wrong, you were wrong.
Okay.
Because we walked it off, everyone took their notes, and that was the Bible for the 73rd U.S. Amateurs Championship. So I get a gal, young gal, very pretty girl. She was in her 20s. Remember, I was 14. She was very pretty. You take notice of this.
And this is your first year caddying. This happens.
First year caddying, and it was Carol Semple. My dog's barking, so someone might. It was Carol Semple, who did, the name didn't ring a bell to me, but the senior caddies knew the name and said her dad was on the USGA. She's a good player, and she qualifies with a 78 on the first day.
Wow.
She had a 9 on a par 5. I thought it was over. She thought it was over, but she came back. She had a 9 on a par 5. Then she birdied a par 3 and birdied a par 4. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So, or actually, no, that was in the match play tournament. I'm sorry. That wasn't in qualifying, but in qualifying, she shot a 78. She was good. First round, I'm all psyched. I didn't sleep the night before on the caddy. I had a T-shirt that said the Montclair Golf Club 73rd U.S. Women's Amateur Championship. We didn't have bibs in those days. They didn't exist.
No way. No bibs, huh?
No bibs in those days. They didn't exist. Okay, so she wins her first match. She wins her second. Now, I guess whatever it was, when it gets down to the Sweet 16, I show up in the morning. It was a Thursday, and Caddy Master says, with a smile on his face, "Richie, you lost the bag." I said, "What bag?" "You lost Carol Semple's bag. The board wants the senior caddies to have them, so you're out. You can go home." I'm like, "Are you sure about that?" "Don't question me." So
wow.
I walk over to the putting green and I see her standing by her bag about maybe 20 yards from me, 30 yards from me. And I see her talking to Big Jim, and she's shaking her head no. And she looks over and sees me, and I give a little wave. And she goes, "Come here." She says to Jim, "Jim, I'm sure you're a great caddy, but Richie's been carrying my bag for 3 days now. I'm finishing with Richie."
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's sick.
You're 14 years old. You feel good in life. She eventually wins on the 36th hole of a 36-hole match play match. Now,
wow.
The caddies are throwing dice ahead of time, betting on who's winning. So there was quite a bit on me. So then the bet was, will Richie pick his visor up if he wins and throw it into the gallery? Well, it was $20 to me if I did it. Keep in mind now, and caddies were betting yes and no. We were just talking about $7 a loop. So this was like 3 loops with one pick up the hat and throw it in my visor. Of course I did it. She won. She paid me $225, which was, that would probably be equivalent to about I don't know, 3,500, 4,000,
That's
right now.
that's
When you're
incredible.
14 years old, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money. I went to a small college in upstate New York, St. Bonaventure, and my first year's college tuition, room and board, was $3,700. Today, it's about $80,000. So that's where you see the difference in inflation. Okay. So caddying put me through college.
I mean, that's
Needless to say, my dad
incredible.
followed Carol's career. That same year, she won the British Amateur. She eventually won the U.S. Women's Amateur again. And she has won, I believe, more women amateur championships all over the place than any American amateur ever has.
Yeah.
So
she's in the Hall of Fame.
Years, in 2023, Montclair Golf Club invited her back, commemorative. And I met her again, and it was the first time. I played golf behind her, not with her. But at night, there was a dinner, and the plan was it wouldn't be announced to the membership that I was her caddy. Keep in mind, now I'm a member of the golf club, but not many were there 50 years prior that knew I caddied for her.
Yeah.
And I was called up as her caddy. She gave me a big hug. We had lunch together ahead of time. That was a little stage. And we talked about golf in the 70's and what it was like. And I got a standing out because it was so unique out. And it was Jim Axelrod from CBS who was doing the interviewing. It's not, there aren't many caddies alive 50 years later after they caddy for somebody that wins, because they're usually in their 20s, 30s, or 40s when they're looping.
Yes.
And I was 14.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's incredible. What a story.
It was one of the youngest kids to caddy for the winner of a national tournament.
I mean, that's awesome. And the fact that I'm just hearing this now, and I've been looping for you.
You've been looping with me for a couple of years now, correct?
Yeah.
And it's a story that can be repeated and be told all the time because golfers want to hear it, especially when you're my age, 68 years old, and your contemporaries at the club, 30, 40% of them caddied, which is a topic on its own in private clubs in America. Probably the largest single group of people that apply or are members are former caddies.
Yeah.
The best club for a caddy for a club for the future is build its caddy program. Okay. Because caddies join. Most caddies come from middle-class families. They're not rich kids. Okay. They're working, they're saving for college, and they become somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that
it gives you a work ethic. When you're a high school kid caddying every weekend, almost every day, it gives you, you see the kids, they caddy every day.
Yep.
I didn't have a tan as a caddy. It was my arms. That was it. We didn't go to the beach. We didn't have time. We worked. Yeah. And we played golf at night. In those days, most clubs allowed caddies to play golf at night.
Yeah. That's what we do too. Like you said, it doesn't change. We do the same thing here.
You're part of the fabric of the club when you're a caddy.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's cool to see that like clubs all around the country are like so supportive of their caddy programs. And I've had this take for a while. There's way more ambition in the caddy yard than you think. When we're down there, when we're down the shack, we're talking a lot, like we're busting balls, we're talking about loops, but like, you pull a couple guys aside, we're talking about business ideas, what we're doing on the side. Yeah. There's always something going on in the caddy's life.
And you know what the members do for a living that got them there in that club.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I went to work on the New York Stock Exchange as a clerk for a member who was a senior partner of a firm that no longer exists, Stokes Hoyt and Company.
Dude, would love to hear how that started. How did that relationship with you and that member start?
It was just somebody said, I would say I want to be a stockbroker. then I thought I did. I ended up a real estate broker, but
Yeah.
for an 18, 22-year-old kid graduating college doesn't know what they want to do.
Yes.
Okay. And I went to work on the New York Stock Exchange for probably, I would have made more money caddying. I think I was $225 a week or whatever it was,
Yeah.
but it was for a member. That was not uncommon. That still is not uncommon.
Yep.
Where, I mean, I've had jobs, I've had caddies on internships, but I never really hired a caddy that has caddied for me full time.
Yeah.
Part of it because the nature of the business that I'm in. As you know, I was a real estate broker for 36 years. And for the last 5 years, I was president and CEO of Douglas Elliman Real Estate,
Yep.
New York to Boston, a third of the company, a quarter of the company, 40% of the firm. And you also know that I resigned for semi-retirement last week.
And
And you
congratulations
also
to you,
know that
man.
3 weeks ago, I went to Scotland with my brother and 6 friends, close friends, and we played golf in St. Andrews for 6 days.
Yep.
There's no golf carts. I
Nope.
noticed the first day, if you're old, nobody's old is playing golf because there's no carts. And I walked for 6 days. So I figured if the old man at 68 can walk 6 days in a row, why am I working the way I'm working?
Yeah, and dude, I wanted to ask you about a little bit into your career before we get to your, stepping down. But and one, congratulations, Rich,
Thank you.
and from the bottom of my heart, you're one of the nicest guys I've ever had the pleasure of carrying a bag for, and I mean that truly. You deserve to go and do whatever you want, but when you went into this job with this member, did any of the skills that you had at being a caddy apply to this job?
100%. In those days, I had to be on the 6:30 train every morning from Montclair into Penn Station and then take the path in because I had to be on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange by 8 o'clock. Well, remember, as a caddy, I had to be in the caddy shack at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
You already got started from when you were 14 to 22 on being on schedule. Okay, we went to work every day as caddies. If you missed a Tuesday or a Wednesday, you didn't get out on Thursday.
Yep.
So you learned how to go to work. My caddy skill, what I learned as a caddy was not the work skills as a clerk on the New York Stock Exchange, but the work ethic was there.
Yeah.
And the more than the work ethic, just the whole concept of treating, when in the 70s, when you were a caddy, you had to respect the person you were caddying for, which is no different today, your boss.
Yep.
Okay. You knew how to talk to a member or a guest when you were a caddy, because if you didn't, you were thrown out of the caddy program.
Yep.
Okay. So all that carries with you. Your bedside manners as an adult start when you're young. A caddy gave you the best bedside manners.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Because you wanted to get paid, you wanted a tip your caddy. Okay. Being an asshole to the person you're caddying for, you're not going to get much of a tip.
No, you're
Okay.
not. No, you're
Okay.
not.
No,
No.
you're not. So all of that did carry through. Okay.
And now, dude, throughout your career, did you ever have moments of, I wouldn't say doubt, because you climbed the corporate ladder to basically its pinnacle. You got to the president, you got to the CEO.
Yeah.
Were there ever times where you're like, man, I just want to go back to caddying?
I can't believe you said that. Okay. Because when I was in St. Andrews, not every caddy is a kid.
No.
I get a 60-year-old who said, I just retired. I was an accountant. I had an 80-year-old once saying, I was whatever he was, professional, but I like this. It keeps me young. St. Andrew, Scotland, I believe, is one bag on your shoulder only.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That's what it is.
So I got a copy for you. Okay. an American caddy in St. Andrews. It's a true story. Roughly 2005, a kid, not a kid, Oliver Horovitz, but at the time, he's a successful journalist today, lived in New York City and in Gloucester, Massachusetts. He was a 2-handicap golfer, so he knew how to play golf. He has a gap year before he goes to Harvard. So he goes to St. Andrews University and he caddies, needed money. And he's writing about the trials and tribulations of an American coming in with all the Scottish caddies. But eventually he's accepted. And after his first year, he says to his parents, I'm going back to St. Andrews to caddy in the summer.
Wow.
Which he does. And he does throughout his Harvard years, he goes back. I wouldn't do it because I'd be taking a job away from someone who may need one in Scotland. But I almost called the caddy master, or I'd fly over and meet him and ask to caddy for 6 months.
Wow. Rich,
Okay.
That would be pretty incredible, man.
St. Andrews is the most incredible golf place I have ever been.
On the planet,
I have
man.
a house in South Carolina in the Low Country. I've golfed all over the U.S. Okay, I've golfed in Ireland, which the Irish golf is spectacular. But St. Andrews, the town revolves around golf.
It blew me away because I'm not a big quote unquote like golf nut where it's like I don't like people bring up golf course designs and like all the history here, and that really didn't interest me. I loved playing golf because I love playing golf. That's
Right.
my whole thing. Like I enjoy everything about it when I got a club in my hand. It doesn't matter where I'm at, but man, when I got to St. Andrews, I felt that exact same way. I was like, this place is special. There's no other way to put it other than you're in just complete and total awe when you're walking around those grounds. So that trip, it was 6 days straight walking in St. Andrews. Like, what was the trip for, and like, who were you with?
Well, I was with my brother and 6 good friends, but let me backtrack. Okay,
All right.
10 years ago, and you don't know this, technically I have a lung disease. Okay, and 10 years ago, it really affected me, where I was in intensive care. You know, it was touch and go. So 2 months, 3 months after I was out of intensive care, I was able to start playing golf again. I'm going to say for 2 years, I could not walk 18 holes.
Wow.
First, I was in a cart for 18. Then I was able to walk 9 and take a cart. And then eventually, with a lot of physical therapy and the right drugs, thanks to modern medicine, I'm in some form of remission that hopefully will last forever, but maybe it won't, but I hope it does. Lately, I'm going, it will last forever.
Good.
But you see me, every time I'm with you, I walk.
Yeah, you walk more than me, Rich.
Yeah, that's right. I walk more than you. I walked 6 days straight, which reminded me that I'm strong and I'm young, and there's a lot of golf in this world I want to play. And I'm only a 16 handicap. We're not talking some +3 68-year-old or 5. My brother's a 5 at 70 years old. I'm 16. Doesn't matter what your handicap is. It's the love of golf.
Rich, I'm going to cut you off.
Going.
You're the most down the middle 16 handicap I have ever met in my entire life. Let me tell the audience here. If you have the pleasure of having Rich Ferrari's bag, you are not going to have to look too far for that golf ball because that thing is dead down the middle every time the guy hits it. I swear this guy doesn't miss fairways. It's awesome to see, Rich.
Yeah. On a good day. But it's at a certain point in your career when you think, what do you want to do? I'm not going to say the last chapter, but the latter part of the book. Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to wait until I was how many more years older and maybe not in as good health. Okay. You know, it's, I am so excited to be down in South Carolina on and off all winter playing golf all week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still going to be working. Okay.
Mm.
I'll go back as a consultant with the firm and an agent with the firm, but I'm not going to kill myself as an agent as I did when I was your age,
Yeah.
building your career. But the key is, like, I'll be able to play golf now year round and keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. And I plan on going back to St. Andrews next year. Nothing like it that I've ever seen. Okay. And even the golf courses. Okay. Because St. Andrews is flat,
Yeah.
as you know. Okay. Not every course we played was flat, because in the St. Andrews golf area, there's the Castle course, King Barnes, they're on the water. They are much more hillier. But St. Andrews, the old course, the new course, and the Jubilee course. Keep in mind, the new course is 1895. The Jubilee course is 1897.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were flat. Okay. And to me, they were so much fun. The bunkers are a penalty. You get in them, you hit out the other side, because you're not going to be able to go from here to the pin.
Yep.
At least I couldn't. Okay. But the bunkers, most of them were, on each side. So if you're hitting the ball straight,
Yeah, you're
you're
pretty
okay.
good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's how I felt about the course too. It wasn't
Yeah.
like the bunkers were in landing zones. They were like, if you
Correct.
miss, you're gonna get penalized, which I
You
kind of
play
like.
National Golf Links in Shinnecock, the bunkers are in landing zone. Yeah.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. And even Maidstone today, I think the first 7 holes, I hit a bunker every hole. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like, but the Maidstone bunkers they're not as tough as national bunkers in overall. Um, but I hit every bunker almost. But St. Andrews is flat, so you
Yeah.
can walk it. And the fescue, you can play out of it.
Yep.
I don't know why. The Shinnecock and National fescue is brutal. Okay.
I don't know why
That.
either.
You saw
Yeah.
the Open.
Yeah, I know that. Rich, so one, I'm really happy that you're about to start taking this journey to just start doing more things that you love. I mean, that is awesome. That's kind of reminds me of my dad. My dad was 65 when he retired, and like he could have easily, he's in good shape, he's in good health, he could have kept working, but he goes, Doug, why am I breaking my back over a job that I've worked since I was 20?
Yeah.
And he goes, I want to go and I want to go fishing every single day. And that's what he does. And so you're on this new journey, which is sick. So what's some of the courses that you're actually looking forward to going and playing?
Well, in South Carolina alone, where I am, I'm at the Belfair Club, which is in Bluffton,
Yeah.
which is right off of Hilton Head. And I've played pretty much almost everything there. Okay.
Yep.
But there are a lot of newer courses in South Carolina. I've never played Kiowa Island, that I definitely want to play Kiowa Island.
Rich, I'm telling you right now, I started my caddy career at Kiowa Island.
Oh, you did?
I did. I caddied at Cacique and River, the 2 private courses out there.
Okay.
If I were you, I would get a couple guys together and just try to make a trip of it. Hit every course on that island because they're all great, and then make sure you try to get on those 2 private ones because they will blow you away.
Will do. I have a handful of friends that have homes there, so I'll text you later for the actual names of the course again, and but I'll start working on it. I haven't played much desert golf, so I definitely want to play some more desert golf in the U.S. The U.S. has incredible golf, from the Northeast to the old line clubs to the South now. That is unbelievable. To Florida every year, from Miami to Palm Beach, there's more incredible golf courses that have been built. I was invited to Apogee last year, but I had to work. As you know, I was invited to Shell Bay from our mutual friend, where you are in the winter, but I had to work. Now, when I get invited to Shell Bay and I see you in January and February, I'll be able to go. So I'm just looking forward to just that whole new idea of I can go.
That's awesome. If I can make one suggestion, I would say get a group of you and 3 friends And if you love Scotland, you will absolutely love Bandon, Oregon. It is some of the most fun
I'm
golf.
glad you're saying that. My brother's been there, I am told, and that is on my hit list to go to Bandon. Yeah,
You
I
have to.
haven't been there.
It is epic. It gives you that true Scotland feel on some of the courses, and then it is that like Western golf where it can be like with trails being like super tree lined, Old Mac being a little more open, less coastal, Sheep's Ranch just being like open plains. Like it's really fun.
Well, I was invited to. It's the second week in September. I'm looking on my calendar. I'm trying to think. Where is it? Well, I'll find it and I'll tell you where I'm going. What in your opinion is the number one golf course in the world?
That's a good question. I tell people this when I get asked that question, I go anywhere, any golf course that I'm golfing with my college buddies. That is
Okay.
that is the number one golf
That
course
makes sense.
in America.
Yeah.
We do this tournament every year. It's called the Bad Hombres Invitational. There's about 20 of us that go, and the funnest part is like most of them aren't like golfers. So like
Yeah.
the golfers will go up a couple days before. We'll play our serious round, and then like we'll do a full scramble on Saturday. 5 teams, 4 players each, and it's just the best time. There's no other place I'd rather be than golfing anywhere with the Bad Hombres. If I had to narrow down a course, oh man, this is gonna make a lot of people mad, but man, I love Bayonne. Like
I don't disagree with you.
I love Bayonne, man.
Last year, you looped for a good friend of mine. We were playing with our mutual friend who was a member of Bayonne for a long time, but
Yeah.
he didn't have a Bayonne tag on his bag yet. And he would have me there every year. I like Bayonne also.
You want to talk about hills? That place has a lot of hills as well, man.
Beyond, and that's no golf carts. That's just like in Scotland, no golf carts, but that is hilly. Correct.
Yeah. So, like, you've been on both sides of the bag now for decades, right? Like, what do most caddies get right that, like, what are some, like, improvements you've seen in caddying over the years that are from the 70s? Like,
Caddies know how to read greens better today.
really?
I knew how to read greens, but today they know how to read greens better. They know how important it is on caddying to be reading greens.
Yeah.
My caddy today, Jordan at Maidstone, was phenomenal on reading those greens. Remember, Maidstone's 18 holes. So if you're then there's the other course, but the real course, the Willie Parks Jr. course, is 18 holes. And that's so a good caddy after a few years, you know every break on a green.
Yeah.
But, dog's barking again.
But
right. That's the other thing that's really changed in golf is a rangefinder and the yardage. A caddy today, when they're down pat on yardage, which it was just physically impossible in the 70s as a caddy to have your yardage down the way it is today.
I wonder. Here's a thought. I personally feel that amateur golfers get too into the exact number, and I think that is because
I was just
of
going to bring that up.
Yeah.
When you say to me, it's 66. Well, I'm hitting a 56. I don't know. I hit it 60 to. I can hit it 50 to 70. Yeah. I can't control it to 66. Yeah, okay.
See, and you're a logical guy. That's why
I'm logical. Or it's 195 yards. Well, I can hit because my fairway wood goes 180 and no more.
See, that's one of my favorite reasons for caddying for it because it's never an argument. I'm like, no. Rich, it's 70 yards. You're like, all right, that works.
I'm basically a driver in my fairway wood. And we'll tell everyone it's a heaven wood because I hit it, I don't miss it. So why am I going to fool around with a 3 wood and a 5 wood? Whatever that heaven wood is, which I think it's a 7 wood, I hit 175 to 180 yards. I don't hit a 3 wood any more than that. I only hit a driver 185 to 190 now in life. So for me, it's consistency, or trying to be consistency, and trying to chip and trying to putt.
Yeah, and dude, with all this time on your hands, you're gonna get nothing but better. You know what I mean?
I'm also starting with some lessons now too next week. You know the pro I'm using. Yeah, I won't say his name, but you know him.
Let's go.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, you're gonna go from a 16 to a 10, no problem. I can
that's
just tell.
what we hope.
Oh, I know it. And another question, is at the bridge specifically, like what makes a good round for you? Like what do you like? What do you usually walk away from the bridge and being like, wow, that was a good time?
It's not if I break 90 or not, okay? Because the bridge, the bunkers come into play. The greens can be brutal because they're so large.
Yeah.
Okay. On the first hole of the bridge, if you're center left, you roll into the waste bunker.
Yep.
No matter how good you hit it.
Yep.
So I judge what my round's going to be from my first drive at the bridge, which now is always center right.
Yes.
Okay. It took me a few years to make that total effort because you don't see it from the first tee.
Oh, that's a good piece of advice.
As long as I hit the ball straight off the tee and my fairway wood is going, I can play the bridge without a problem. And then you're handing me a wedge or a 7-iron or an 8-iron in. You know, I don't go for par fours to reach them in 2. I think at the bridge, there's 2 par fours I can reach in 2. You know, I'm going for, as long as I'm on in 3, I have a chance of 1 putting for a par.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a 16 handicap. I don't hit the ball far enough to be home in 2. You know, so
yeah, but that's okay, because that, to me, like from a caddy standpoint, strictly, that is someone who understands their game and is not delusional, and someone I can have a conversation with on how to play a hole the correct way, which is your way.
Yeah. And but the par 5s at the bridge, I can reach them in 3 with 2 good shots. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The par 3s are tough. They don't look tough from the tee, but most of them, you know, are an upside down turtle shell or whatever, because everything runs off, you know, that you have to, you know, the second hole, if you're not on, you know, you're, you know, they're not difficult when you look at them, but they're difficult when you play them.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And I guess this question too, if you had any advice for a caddy or a kid that wanted to start a summer job as a caddy, do you have any advice you would give them, being that you have the experience?
Yeah, the advice is, it's going to be brutal in the beginning, but it pays off. Because as a kid, you can do it all through high school and college. Okay. And I was like a little banker when I was 15. Caddies have more cash in their pockets, high school caddies, I had more cash in my pocket than my dad had. He used to borrow $100 and I was his ATM. He'd write me a check for $100 and I would shell out the 20s and give it to him. You're 15 years old. I was my father's ATM. Okay. You know, it's just work hard, stick it out. But when you'll probably, I think I'm playing at the bridge next week.
Right.
Okay. This weekend, Saturday, I was invited to Southampton. I played Maidstone today. I have a house full of house guests coming, so I should spend some time with them and take them to the beach. But if I get invited somewhere on Sunday, I am going to play Sunday anyway.
Good for you.
When you read American Caddy in St. Andrews on how first-year caddy is very tough, you're not accepted by the caddies, and then it all falls into place, and you have that summer job all through high school and college. That pays a fortune. Yeah. Even today, it pays a fortune. But more importantly, you learn a lot about careers. Caddies talk. They always ask, what does so-and-so do for a living? And then when they're back in the caddy shack, they say, so-and-so is this, so-and-so is that. When I became president and CEO of Douglas Elliman for the Northeast 5 years ago, it was in the Real Deal, it was in Cranes, it was in the Wall Street Journal, it was pretty much everywhere. The caddies knew about it.
Of course
When I
we
went
did.
back to the Montclair Golf Club, they're congratulating me. Okay? They know. They know what you do. It opens eyes for their future careers. Okay? And that's the key. What else a caddy will learn. They also learn what careers pay a lot because
Yes.
you're a member of a private club.
Yes.
Okay? And you're flying up, not me, but members, between the cars that they have. Caddies are aware of this.
Oh, yeah.
And they're working hard to build. Most of them, when they're young, is to pay for college. Because as I said, most caddies come from middle-class families, and college is a fortune today.
Yeah.
A caddy who has the ambition is doing it, and they're really investing in their future.
Yeah.
And you can't take it away. My trip to Scotland, 4 of us were caddies. 4 of the 8.
No way.
Okay. Yeah. 1 caddied at National Golf Links, 1 caddied at Tuxedo. Okay. And my brother and I both caddied at Montclair Golf Club. So 4 out of the 8 were caddies.
That's incredible.
And
That's
we still
incredible.
have caddy stories. Okay.
That's awesome, man. Well, you're going to have to come back on the podcast and be a reoccurring guest and tell more of these caddy stories because this has been awesome, man.
No problem.
Absolutely, dude. I want to wrap the show with something we do here called The Last Call, poured by Spike Dade. I want to know, Montclair, and I want to know if you still know this. Where was the spot, or where is still the spot that the caddies go hang out, have a drink, have something to eat?
At Montclair Golf Club, it's Tierney's. Tierney's in Montclair on Valley Road.
Okay. Good food, good drink, all that?
Lousy food, but we love it because I still go for cheeseburgers and fries. It's bar food.
That's awesome.
It's bar food. That's where the caddies go. It's bar food. Okay. And every golf club that has caddies has a pub where the caddies hang out.
Yes. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Things don't change. Every caddy today has the same stories that I had. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And the second question on the last call, this is usually where do you want your last loop to be, but do you remember your last loop, the last time you carried a bag?
No, I don't.
No.
Because I didn't know it was going to be my last loop at the time.
Oh, wow.
I did caddy post-college, and I'm going to tell you why. Same as Jordan, who caddied for me today, is a high school teacher or grammar school teacher in Amagansett, caddies on weekends, because you still make a shitload of money caddying. That hasn't changed. So when I was making $200 a week working on the New York Stock Exchange, I was making another caddying on weekends. Then it was $20 a bag. Another $120 if I was going, say, 3 loops on the weekend. Say Saturday, I'd go 36 and Sunday 18.
Yeah.
And it was cash.
Oh, yeah.
I also learned when I first started working, by the time the government took their share, there wasn't much left for me. Caddying in those days, it was all cash right in your pocket.
Yes, it is. Still kind of is.
Kind of is correct. I'm not going there with you, but
please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't. We're a national podcast.
Correct. So we're not going into that.
Oh man, and Rich, the last question on the Tip Your Caddy podcast: who would you like to see on next? Who do you think who's your pick to have on the Tip Your Caddy podcast next?
Wow, that's a good. Okay, I don't know if he would do it, but Google him.
Okay.
Eric Leacher. Okay.
Who is he?
One of the most successful investment bankers ever in America. He's retired today.
Okay.
Google him and you'll see what I'm saying. I used to caddy for him. Okay. He's also been club champ he lives, I believe, in East Hampton. Club champ at Maidstone, Shinnecock, and National.
Oh, man.
Okay. One of the greatest amateur club golfers also. When you read his book, you'll see that he, I don't know, maybe like a couple dozen club championships in his life. Golf helped his career. I'm going to say he's a golf philanthropist from reading about him, and just reach out to him. I don't know if he would come on, but
hey, if you think there's even a little bit of a chance, if you want to throw that feeler out just to see what he thinks, I'd be very grateful. Because that sounds
I knew
great.
him 50 years ago.
Okay.
But I'm sure you can reach him. He's local. The caddies at Maidstone all know him.
Okay.
All
right.
He'd give a point of view.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
And you know why? Because he donates to caddies. He donates to golf.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, Rich,
reach out to him.
Rich, I can't thank you enough for taking the hour to come on the podcast and talk to me. I've been on your bag so many times. We've talked about doing this for a while. I'm so happy it finally happened. Thank you for sharing your insight on what caddying was like in the 70s. Thank you for sharing about your career and how caddying helped you forward into this powerhouse that you are now. And now you're in the best part of life, which is being in the mode where you can say yes to whatever opportunities you want to say yes to. And I'm super excited for you, man. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on the podcast, man. This was great. And anytime you want to come back on, happy to have you.
I'll come back on, Doug. I'll come back on and tell you how my life is 9 months from now. Next spring.
Yes. Okay. I want to hear all the crazy caddy stories you got from all the places you played.
Will do. Okay.
All right. Rich, thank you so much. Until next time, guys.
I'll see you next week.
All right. I'll see you next week. Tip your caddy, guys.